It's the 28th of June 2022, and we are reading Grit as Flow Jedis in our Flow State Book Club. Stay tuned.
Yeah. I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a Flow State coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today, we're exploring grit again, okay? Wow, it's taken us a lot of grit to finish up Grit. I'm still not done with it. I think I'm at chapter 10. There's a few more chapters left. But essentially, man, I have some of the ideas on it, and I just want to share my main takeaways in this video. Read it yourself, obviously. There's a lot of little short stories and little narratives and little anecdotes to take away from this. So, really go into those if you want to learn more about it. Again, this is my perspective. You can find any other video, breaking this down, and they're going to give you their opinion. This is my opinion and perspective as a Flow State coach. And I love the fact that they actually brought up Flow State this time, okay? I thought that was fascinating, and I think Grit and Flow State do go hand in hand, though there are some major differences. So let's get started. So it starts off with this argument, obviously, of nature and nurture, okay? So we always ask this in science: is it nature, is it nurture, right? Is grit genetic or is it not genetic? Well, find out it's both, okay? It's both. Grit grows as we grow older. That's what we found. There's a chapter called Grit Grows. People who are older, they have a different cultural upbringing, right? Their grit mentality, that mentality was different, right? Just work hard and push forward. That mentality. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps, right? I think that definitely plays into it. However, also when you're older, you get thrust into a lot of new situations in life, right? You might have to move somewhere, you might get a job somewhere else. And so this kind of movement, I think, gives adults or older adults much later in their 60s, 70s, 80s, a lot more grit because they've handled life. They've experienced a lot more of life. So they have more of that skill set. And I think old people can get in flow just like young people, very, very young people can get into flow, Of course, your body's deteriorating as you grow older as well. So, mainly, I think it takes over more like the mind aspect of flow state, because you notice a lot of older people, they read or they watch things and things like this. So yeah, man, that's my perspective. There's this story about this woman who never really got she grew up in a culture of like understanding and always getting second chances. And the moment she never got a second chance based on this work that she received, she showed up on time, right? She put on like 2 alarms, she did it, and she made it work, okay? Now, sometimes we give ourselves way too many outs, way too many options or rationalizations and excuses and second chances, right? And by doing that, we actually avoid showing up for ourselves. We actually give ourselves a leeway. We give ourselves a way out, okay, an escape from actually taking responsibility. So I wrote this down because I don't want to be that person. I really wrote this down because I'm like, hey, I don't want to live with this second chances mentality, right? Why would I live like that? Why can't I just show up and be that standard? The question is, most places are just wondering, can you deliver, right? Like for an actor, they don't care whether you got like 2 hours of sleep last night, or your husband divorced you or whatever, right? They matter that you have a kick-ass scene and performance that day, right? That's all they care about, is can you deliver? And that's the thing. So the next is really understanding that when you love doing something, it just makes it a lot easier. The task that's giving you a problem, the task that's giving you a lot of, push against it, a lot of resistance, When you enjoy that task, productivity just doubles, triples, quadruples, because it becomes easier for you to do something that you love, okay? And this takes the form of interest, practice, purpose, and hope, okay? So in a lot of commencement speeches, they'll tell you, follow your passion, right? Just follow your passion, man. Passion is something very interesting to me. Okay, first of all, the word passion itself comes from pati, which means suffering. So we understand that passion by itself means that you've chosen to take on some form of suffering in order for you to actually excel or get better or succeed or move past any blockages or boundaries. I honestly think passion is about self-service, whereas purpose is about other service, right? So you really need to be passionate about a subject before you get purposeful around it, right? This kind of statistic scares me, okay? Only 13% of adults are engaged at work. Only 13%, right? That's really bad, man. Our concentration level, or people aren't loving what they do. Straight up, people aren't loving what they do. And I get a lot of career counseling people coming in, right, from my practice, and I get a lot of people very confused about where they want to go, what they want to do. This is a big issue, man, a big issue. But these books that we're reading, they're helping us solve half the issue, half the problem, by speaking about it. I mean, someone could take 40 years to do something incredible in their life, right? So we can't live in this mentality of like impatience all the time, being attached to time, like it has to be done by 4:47 or else. No, we scare ourselves using our own language, right? The word deadline was used to mean like actually corpses in a line, right? The language has been set up for our failure. So if you can find a way to hack past this, I mean, this is my own thoughts. This is not from the book Grit at all. You know what I mean? It's just me talking about it based on reading this book. So, like they say in the book, you know, finding a match or finding a relationship is just the beginning, right? But then you got to put in the work. You actually got to, you know, show up and do things and, you know, relate to that other person in order to strengthen it and closen that bond. Another thing which I thought was interesting is that a lot of things are very superficial and uninteresting before you actually start doing them. So everyone can have, you know, theories and concepts about doing things and trying to talk about doing things, but until you actually do it, you have no reference of what it's actually like. It's like a person who's not an athlete, right? Who's commentating sports, never experienced the game itself. There seems to be some kind of a weird discrepancy there. Or maybe they've studied the subject really well, that's fine too. But then again, man, if you've never actually played in your own life, like, how are you going to get that reference to critique someone else? You only know it based on your own experiences, right? That you can actually adapt. Any person with, you know, Cheeto crusted fingers could say, oh yeah, move like this. That would have been better in that situation. But you couldn't even do that in that situation. So stop talking trash. That's what I mean, okay? This is an interesting formula for passion, is that a bit of discovery, a lot of development, and a deepening of a lifetime. I love that, man. Yes, discovery gets you into the door. You discover something you're passionate about, you know, then you develop that thing a lot and you deepen it. You deepen that development, that evolution gets you closer, more embodied, right? You can't force an interest, man. That's another thing. A lot of parents, they'll be forcing interest on their kids, like, especially in India, right? Like, oh, doctor, lawyer, and engineer, you only have 3 choices in this video game of life. Bro, like, why can't you choose anything else? Why can't you have a mind of your own, right? Oh, but you'll be safe, you'll make lots of money. Listen, man. Okay, you'll be safe and make lots of money. Then what? You're lost again. You're purposeless again. Okay? Purpose has got to be something that is fueled by you, through you. Not something that you're, you know, oh yeah, I'm just working for my dad's company. You know, I see so many people just doing this cop-out. That's what annoys me, man. Stop, like, you know, tapping out all the time. Like, just push forward. That's what grit is about. Development is due to practicing hard work before play. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Kaizen, of course, like Kaizen is just been such a term that's been brought up nowadays. It means continuous improvement, right? So, focusing on the baby steps in a sense. They actually tested this on spellers, right? Yeah, the ones that started advancing in the spelling contests, they had more deliberate practice time than ones that didn't. Okay, that was interesting to me. That practice is so important. Practice is like crucial as a skill set, right? Deliberate practice, like sitting down and telling yourself, I'm gonna do this. Okay, pushing through resistance and pain. You have to have this like perverted level of acceptance towards the pain and hardship that you're gonna get through this task, right? This is a process either with dancers or theater majors where they described it as daily small deaths that they had to have, right, in order to evolve and move past into a different state of mind. And I really believe in this because I used to do a bit of theater acting and, my book TPM and my whole background as an actor using acting techniques in my own life. I started to recognize, man, that, you lose a lot of sleep, you lose a lot of time out or whatever, because you're just rehearsing all the time, right, on a Friday night or whatever. Everyone else is going out partying, you're there just running lines with the same people, building this community, and it's just like that by itself is such, like, you gotta love it, man. You gotta really love it if you're gonna push through it. Like, don't half-ass it, don't love it a little bit and then just kind of... It's the same with relationships. If you don't love the person, you're not going to be willing to go through the BS that it takes to actually fix that relationship. You know what I mean? It really does come down to our feelings at the end of the day, I find this interesting. For years, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, Mihai has gone by Mike instead of Mihai. Just easier to, say, oh, hey there, Mike. Oh, hey there, Michael. I found that so interesting. My dad, actually, his name is Ninja, and, or Onindo. And, whenever he travels, right, he'll tell people that his name is Michael. And it's a similar thing, right, if you have a very complicated name. So there's not really any people showing you the hours of becoming, right? Usually on social media, it's like hours of what you have become. Is what you show, right? People usually show their end product or end result. They don't show the behind the scenes, the transparent. This is why, like, it's coming out now that transparency is cool again, right, in a sense. But that wasn't the case many years back, right? It just wasn't a thing to share your progress and share your process like that. Oh yeah, that's their private, moment. The private moment is one of the most important practices in the AZD process too. And you got to understand, man, that you got to get so real and intimate with yourself. Like, you are there by yourself, but other people are there to witness you being at your element, at your core, right? Mihai Csikszentmihalyi was talking about the story when he was a young boy in Hungary, and he saw this quote somewhere. I think he hopped over a fence or something, or it was on a door somewhere, where it said, the roots of knowledge are bitter, but its fruits are sweet. But he also said, it's not bitter when you feel it is worth having. It will express who you are. You will keep wanting to learn. The difference between deliberate practice and flow state, right? Deliberate practice is preparation, and it's a behavior, and it's a doing. Flow state is a performance, it's an experience, and it's a feeling. Okay, that's the difference between those. The basic requirements of deliberate practice are as follows. A clearly defined stretch goal, full concentration and effort, immediate and informative feedback, repetition with reflection and refinement. You got to make your deliberate practice into a habit, daily rituals. I mean, these people have schedules, bro. It's like timed really elegantly. Like, as I'm leading my life more and more, it's becoming more structured as I live on, and it becomes more intentional, the way that I live and the choices that I make. Essentially, there's hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness. Eudaimonia, which is, by the way, I have a tattoo right here, eudaimonia. That's a word that I really love, okay? It means harmony with one's good inner spirit. it basically it means flourishing or long-term happiness, right? Not that short burst of happiness that just goes away after a while, right? Oh, you take a drink, you feel happy in the moment, but then it goes away. It's not that, right? And so grit can really give us that feeling of that long-term. Purpose can be persevered. More gritty heroes than there are gritty villains, okay? You could say someone like Joseph Stalin has grits. Yeah, that's true. They do have grit. It's not specific that grit has to be, used for good only. There's gritty people out there that are doing bad things too, right? But what the research shows is there are way more gritty heroes than gritty villains, okay? Very interesting. And this was a difference between career, job, and calling. I really like this. So one person said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm laying bricks." The next person, yeah, so what are you doing? He said, "I'm building a church." The third person said, "I'm making the house of God." Okay. Now, the first person, for them, it was a job. For the second person, it was a career. For the third person, it was a calling. Calling makes the world a better place. You have to ask yourself, with your calling, with your purpose, what you do, how it connects to other people, the bigger picture, or your deepest, most values. Okay, that's how you're gonna find that secret sauce. So only stronger pro-social motives found work intrinsically engaging. So grit depends on hope, okay? Hope is today's efforts can improve tomorrow's future, right? Or improve the future. And when I think about that statement, I think about procrastination, and I think of like, oh, procrastination is you just being a jerk to your future self, right? It's just you being not good to you in the future, right? When you're about to do something really sketchy or like you have a bad habit or whatever it is, you gotta ask yourself, man, will I thank myself for this in the future? Will I thank myself for this in the future? It's like that Snoop Dogg meme, right? And last but not least, I want to thank me. Yeah, the mindset of grit is like, I can figure this out. I can do this. I've got this, man. And so you got to learn to see failure as a cue to try harder, rather than a confirmation of you lacking beliefs or abilities to succeed. Over here we have an awesome talk about, fixed and growth mindset. So I'm gonna read out 4 statements to you. You tell me yes or no to these statements. Your intelligence is something very basic about you that you can't change very much. You can learn new things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are. No matter how much intelligence you have, you can always change it quite a bit. You can substantially change how intelligent you are. If you said yes to the first one and no to the second one, then you have a fixed mindset. If you said no to the first one and yes to the second one, then you have a growth mindset, okay? Now, this is really important, man, because a lot of us believe that deep down that people really can change. That's growth orientation for you, okay? That's the belief that you can learn skills. You can, it's not just your talent that you're blessed or cursed with something. No, you have choice. I'll give you an example of an undermining growth mindset and grit, and one of a mindset that promotes growth mindset and grit. I'll do it in 2 different voices, okay? So you guys can understand. You're a natural. I love that. You're a learner. I love that. Well, at least you tried. That didn't work. Let's talk about how you approached it and what might work better. Great job. You're so talented. Great job. What's one thing you could have done even better? This is hard. I don't feel bad if you can't do it. This is hard. Don't feel bad if you can't do it yet. Maybe this isn't in your strength. Don't worry. You have other things to contribute. I have high standards. I'm holding you to them because I know we can reach them together. Now, notice the difference between the language of someone in grit and someone who undermines their grit, right? It's phenomenal. I love this. Like, this is really helpful to see that difference, that chart. I mean, we all know that optimistic self-talk, really helps you persevere over adversity. Like, that is one of the main things about grit, and about this book. man, I hope you got value from today's video. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you. We'll finish this book up hopefully by this month. Maybe I'll do it on Thursday, Friday, or something like this. And we'll start off next week with another book club. Let's go. Upward Spiral Gang. May we never be the same again. If you're new to this channel and you enjoyed this, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Let's get it. Upward Spiral Gang.